Hey everyone, Mix with Jerry here. In this video, I'm going to show you a few techniques and plugins that I like to use in order to add some analog warmth and depth to my mixes. Now, before I begin, please make sure to subscribe to the Waves Audio YouTube channel and hit that thumbs up button to let them know that you're enjoying all the new content. Let's hop right in and get to it. Now, when we're talking about analog warmth, we're essentially talking about the character that is imparted on the audio signal whenever you're recording or mixing through analog gear. So things like tape machines, EQs, compressors, and even mixing consoles, they all add a certain color to the sound, especially whenever you push them to their limit. The problem though is that not everybody has access to this analog gear. A lot of us are working out of home studios, we're mixing in the box, and we're constantly challenged with the task of trying to make things sound less digital. Sometimes our tracks can sound weak, thin, and we just need a little extra heaviness to reinforce the sound. Now, luckily, Waves has plenty of plugins that model and emulate the sound of analog hardware. And I'm gonna show you some of my favorites and how I use them in the mix. So first off, we have Magma BB tubes, and I love putting this thing on my drum bus for that analog saturation effect. Now, what's cool about this one is we have the beauty knob right here, and then we have the beast knob. The beauty knob is going to give you more even order harmonics, which can be a little bit more subtle and pleasing to the ear. And then the beast knob is going to give you more odd order harmonics, so a much more aggressive type of saturation. And the blend between these two knobs is really what makes this such a cool plugin. Now, this sensitivity knob over here on the left side of the plugin is going to control how hard we drive our input signal into the tubes. Now, this bass relief knob down below is a low shelf curve that can really help us keep the low end intact whenever we're applying saturation. And then down below we have the transformer switch. So whenever this is turned on, it's going to give us a nice bump in the low end and really color the signal and add some analog character. So let's go ahead and just do a reset on this plugin, and then I'm going to go ahead and press play and let's take a listen to the drums as I dial this in. Okay, so that's adding a very nice lift to the drums overall. It's giving them a little grit and a little edge. Now notice how when I was dialing this in, I used the output gain knob to kind of bring the signal back so that way we can kind of level match our signal before and after the processing. Okay, so to me, that is a night and day difference and a huge benefit to using this plugin. It adds that warm tone and allows you to make things more loud without necessarily just turning up the volume fader. When I turned the plugin off, we were actually peaking at a much higher level, but our drums sounded quieter when compared to when I turned the plugin on, and the drums sounded much more loud, but the peak level was actually lower. Let's go ahead and just take one more listen to the drums in regards to the entire mix. And again, I'll turn the plugin on and off so you can hear the difference.
I took the lonely way home on a back road, but the windows roll down as the wind blows. I'm tired of giving up, and I'm tired of giving in. I try to make it right, but never again. Oh, 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 no, never again, no, never again.
Okay, so I can hear an obvious step forward in the mix for the drums, and that's what saturation does. Now, speaking of saturation, I've really fell in love with the Schoeps Omni-Channel 2 for vocals. And in specific, I like the saturation circuit over here, and you can see that the only thing turned on right now is the preamp section. And really the main goal that I have with this plugin in my vocal chain is just to create some of that preamp saturation from driving your signal. Now you have 4 different harmonic types to choose from. You have odd, even, heavy, and crush. Let's go ahead and just take a listen as I dial in the saturation knob right here and just experiment with the different harmonic types.
I don't ever want to let you down. No, 'cause you're the only one who I can trust right now. Oh, I'm wearing down and running out of time again. Whoa, I wonder how I could figure out the way this will all end.
Okay, so as you could hear, you can really crank the signal and get a very aggressive and in-your-face vocal. Now that might not be what we're going for with this particular song, but let's take another listen and just really find the sweet spot.
I don't ever want to let you down. No, 'cause you're the only one who I can trust right now. Oh, I'm wearing down and running out of time again. Whoa, I wonder how I could figure out the way this will all end. I don't ever want to let you down. No, 'cause you're the only one who I can trust right now. I don't ever want to let you down. No, 'cause you're the only one who I can trust right now.
Okay, so to me, I just love the overall heaviness that it's adding to the vocal. And oftentimes that's what I'm wanting. I want the vocal to have some attitude. I want it to have some character. I don't always want it to be so pristine and clean. And I love how easy this plugin is to use. And not to mention all of the other components that this thing has, right? You have a gate, you have two de-essers, an EQ, a compressor. The Shep's Omnichannel 2 is a go-to for vocals. Now another analog plugin that I love is the Abbey Road Saturator. Now this is modeled after two different mixing consoles. You can see here in the saturator module that there's a TG and a red. So the TG is going to be emulating solid state, and then the red is going to be modeling tubes. So the TG is going to be a little bit more clean, and then the red is going to be much more aggressive and grittier. Now in particular, I love this plugin on bass. You can really slam this thing with saturation and make the bass pop. And the harmonic distortion that you can get from this plugin is a great part of the design. And then over here in the middle of the plugin, you have what's called a compander. And this is actually very unique. It essentially compresses the signal and then it runs it through some filters, which you can see right here, and then it expands that signal. And the ratio knob right here is different from a typical ratio that you would see on a normal compressor. With a low ratio, you're gonna get more soft clipping and compression on the lower frequencies. And then as you increase the ratio, you're gonna get more soft clipping and compression with the higher frequencies. And then of course you have this blend knob right here down below to control how much of this effect you'd like to blend in. And then over here, the saturation component of this thing is really what I love about the plugin in particular. So obviously you can choose your saturator of choice with the dial up top, and then the red knob is going to control how much saturation you're adding. And then of course down below is your mix control right here, and this is going to help you dial in how much of these harmonics and how much of this effect you want. Okay, so you can really hear all of those harmonics. It just brings the bass forward. The bass is almost growling at you instead of just being lifeless and dull. And it just makes it easier to hear and pick up on those frequencies because people will be listening to your music on cheaper speakers that might not be able to reproduce the low end very well. So adding these harmonics higher up in the frequency spectrum will really help keep things audible. Okay, so next up is the Abbey Road J37 tape machine. Now this is such a great tool. I personally like to use this in a more subtle way than compared to the other plugins I've shown. So I like to put this on my music bus just to glue things together. It really has a way of smoothing things out in the high end. So it all kind of derives around the input and output knobs. So with the level link engaged, what you can do is drive the input knob up and it's automatically going to turn the output knob down. So basically you're cranking the signal into the plugin, adding some saturation, and then dialing back to compensate for that level increase. Now there's also this saturation knob down here that can provide you a different sounding type of saturation as opposed to just driving your input knob. Then up here you have the tape formula. So 815 is going to be the cleanest, 888 is going to be the dirtiest and the most lo-fi sounding, and then 811 is going to be somewhere in between. Next you have the tape speed. So this is going to affect the overall tone of your signal. 7.5 is going to be a little bit more dark and lo-fi sounding, and then 15 is going to be a little bit more bright and modern sounding. Now over here on the right you have the bias, and basically what this is going to do is just add some higher frequencies to your sound to give it a little bit more quality in the top end. And then down here at the bottom of the plugin you have the wow and flutter. This is going to give you that cool effect of the tape machine kind of modulating from the disruptions in the tape motor speed and the tape movement. Let's go ahead and press play and just kind of dial this thing in. Okay, so it's very subtle, but the tape just kind of glues everything together in a nice way. It softens out some of the peaks. And again, I can't stress this enough. With saturation, a little goes a long way. We have so many great plugins and tools to use and work with, so let each tool do its job. A little here and there is better than everything all at once. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, please subscribe to the Waves Audio YouTube channel if you're liking the content, and leave me a comment down below and let me know which Waves analog style plugins you're using in your own mixes.
I took the lonely way home on a back road. The windows roll down as the wind blows. I'm tired of giving up, I'm tired of giving